Prepare to stand by to eject the core.
Prepare to eject the warp core. Authorization ECH Omega 42.
We've got to eject the core!
Ejection systems offline.
Warp ejection system enabled. Eject the core.
Eject the core.
Eject the warp core.
Computer, eject the warp core.
I just did.
Eject the core!
Eject the core, ladies, gentlemen, and non-denomination species of all alien species.
That was good.
Right?
That was good.
So first off, I want to start this episode by saying something that if we ever do say, it's usually at the end of the episode, and 9 times out of 10 we forget. Please like, comment, and subscribe on our stuff.
Yeah,
it really helps
absolutely.
us out. So
Yeah, for sure.
all right, now we are on. This was supposed to be episode 3.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, absolutely.
Due to temporal displacement and
Dysplasia? Hip dysplasia?
Yes, exactly.
Are we German shepherds?
We might be. Due to a temporal displacement, we got flung into the future, and so this is going to be episode 6.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy.
Which is weird because we just got done recording episode 2. So
yeah, I have no idea what we say in 4 or 5.
I haven't had a chance to catch up on YouTube yet, so which is weird. Like, how would I know that we never say like, comment, and subscribe? Anyway, so time travel. We're here today to talk about time travel.
Time travel.
Time travel.
That's right. That's right. Time travel without a radionics machine, without a clever steamworks machine. Instead, time travel specifically in Trek. And there are so many different ways in which time travel happens.
So basically, I've come to understand that like time travel in Star Trek is like just running into like a random. It'd be like as common as a coronal mass ejection, basically.
Yeah. Basically, well, okay, so. I've been kind of thinking about it a lot because I did a lot of legwork on this one. And there are like 3 main categories, I think, for time travel. There is barely explained, or rather just kind of like an explanation that just doesn't really satisfy. Then there is the more technical explanation, which is more rare, actually. And you would think it wouldn't be because it's Trek.
Right.
You know,
technobabble.
Right, right. And then there is MacGuffin. And there's a lot of that.
Those are my favorite.
Are they?
Yeah.
I would think it was mine too, but... the more I started researching into it, the more I was like hungry for answers. Like I wanted to know what the different methods were. And so I had this idea that I was going to like make this chart of like all the different ways that it happened and like how many of each time. And it would be like 50% of the time it's just MacGuffin.
That would have been a lot of work for mostly MacGuffin, I think. I feel like you would have been spending like another week or 2 researching this episode if you would have done that.
Right. I would have taken these notes and I would have gone through and then just kind of like built it. And it's so ridiculous because like a lot of this information comes from Memory Alpha.
Right.
But I did not do further episode research through Memory Alpha because have you ever tried to like read Memory Alpha for each individual episode?
Yes. Half the time you get like 3/4 of the way down and like it's not even, the ending isn't even explained, or somebody didn't even bother to write the article that finishes it,
or it's like it describes literally everything that happened.
Yes, it catalogs every single scene in the episode and exactly what happened and exactly what everybody said. Yeah.
Right.
It's like reading a screenplay.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts. So I used the time travel chart from Memory Alpha. I didn't think all of them were applicable, so I think there's quite a few that were removed. And then actually I used Wikipedia because they have really good basic summaries of the episodes. And if I needed to, I actually went and watched them or like skipped through them. But
Sure.
And we were just watching some today.
Yeah, I was trying to help out because this has been you've done the majority of the legwork on this episode, and I tried to kind of jump in and go through a few episodes that I knew that had some. I would say that a couple examples of MacGuffin time travel would be one of my favorite, personally, my favorite time travel episodes in Star Trek is Endgame from Voyager, and I would say that falls under the MacGuffin category.
The which one?
Endgame.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And
Because-
you were just checking.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
out,
and
too.
I was because I thought that at some point in the episode that Admiral Janeway actually explains the time travel mechanics
Right.
of the device, and
Right.
that doesn't happen.
No.
It's just some device that she gets from a Klingon.
Right. Yep.
So, which would make
That's
sense
it.
because they're the original time travel experts, having that moon with the time crystals. Ooh,
Yeah, yikes. I have 39 instances of time travel.
and that's not even all of them, is it?
No, Memory Alpha has listed 54,
54.
but I didn't, and some of them were condensed kind of into two, because they like at certain instances they would say, like there was this episode, and then part 2 of that episode because it's a two-parter. They would list them as separate ones. The last one that we'll talk about actually takes place across 3 different episodes, and I just lumped them together. And then there was a few of them that I didn't think really classified as time travel.
Yeah, and I think that we were kind of talking about that a couple days ago. Episodes that have time travel in them, but aren't necessarily the main theme, or it's like a very side byproduct of whatever's going on in the
Right.
episode. So,
Right.
I would even go on to argue that All Good Things isn't really a time travel episode.
All Good Things is the end of TNG.
Yes.
I would agree with you. I would absolutely agree with you. And in fact, I don't have it listed. There are 3 episodes that I ended up kind of meshing together for a very specific reason. We'll definitely get to that in a minute. But the genesis of time travel in Trek is fascinating.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
So, because like I said, you've done the research on this, so I want to hear your take on the genesis of time travel in Star Trek.
So it starts out in the original series. It's an episode called Naked Now.
Sure.
I don't remember a lot of the episode, but basically, a part of like the Enterprise warp engines is that you have to start them sequentially, very slowly to like warm them up. Nobody ever does a cold start of the warp engines because it's theoretically dangerous, but they have to do it, and it throws them 71 hours into the past. And at the end of the episode, they very specifically say that they have discovered time travel. That was when they discovered time travel, and that was supposed to be the very first instance of time travel in the Trek universe, and that they would have to be careful because it could be a very dangerous technique or technology to use. And it's really interesting because they're like, wow, time travel is real, but like, wow, we got to be really careful. But then, so there's another one that happens before. Well, actually, where is it? Okay, we got a few to get through. The next one is Tomorrow is Yesterday. There's an encounter with a black star.
A black star.
They never explain what a black star is.
I don't know much about the original series because I have not watched it all the way through.
Right.
But I don't recall ever hearing anything about a black star in Star Trek since then.
No. Yeah, I looked. No. Nope. That's the only time they encountered a black star.
It's the only one.
And this is how they it starts with them in the 1960s, and they're like, Captain Zog, after a strange encounter with a black star, we've been thrown into the past to the 1960s. And that's it. And you're like, oh, okay. All right. Yeah, no, that's the only... Okay.
Makes sense.
Cool.
Had
Great.
nothing to do with budget constraints and wanting to save money or anything like that.
Right. Number 3 is City on the Edge of Tomorrow.
Which was the Guardian of Forever, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I did not pay that much attention when he shows up in Discovery.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I find it interesting because City on the Edge of Tomorrow is a fantastic episode. But then one of the shining moments in Discovery really is, and what's his name?
Carl.
And I because I barely remember this episode. Can you like refresh like how this whole thing goes down?
So Giorgio is dying.
Right.
They don't know how, they don't know why, they just know it's because there's something in her blood and she's from the Terran universe, and the Terran universe is split farther apart.
Right.
And they don't know what to do to fix her. And all of a sudden, the sentient computer on board Discovery gives them these coordinates of this planet. And they don't know anything about it because it's it's been top secret, washed away, whatever.
Sure.
And so they go there and just sitting on a chair when they show up with this top hat on, or I feel like he was wearing a bowler hat. I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
just,
a trilby.
yeah, some guy sitting there named Carl, who ends up being the personification of the Guardian of or the
Guardian
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant.
No, and it's great. And you would so in canonical Star Trek, that's only the second time I believe that the Guardian of Forever has ever been on screen.
Canonical, yes.
However,
you know about this.
Oh, I do, because it's one of,
Oh.
in my opinion, it is the best work of Star Trek fan fiction that's ever been.
What's that?
Are we? Do we know about two different things?
Yes, we do.
Oh man, so have you ever heard of Star Trek of Gods and Men?
No.
Okay, so there was this fan film made called Star Trek of Gods and Men, and it takes place after Kirk has died in the original timeline.
Okay.
It has Nichelle Nichols. It has it's got Tim Russ as Tuvok. It's got the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off as Captain Harriman.
Oh wow!
I believe that
it was a fan-made film.
Yeah, Walter
Koenig
is in it
as
Chekhov. Yeah, and so there's a character, Charlie X, from the original series.
Yes, I know Charlie
who was
X.
exiled, and he gets free.
He does this.
Yeah, so Charlie X in the very beginning, he gets free. The actor that plays Neelix is in it, but he's not as Neelix.
Ethan Phillips. Yeah,
Ethan Phillips is in it, but he's not Neelix.
Okay.
Charlie X goes to this facility looking for Kirk, and they're like, Kirk died. Sorry, buddy. And so he goes to the Guardian of Forever, and goes through the Guardian of Forever, and goes back in time and kills Kirk while he's still in his mother's womb.
Wow.
So that Kirk never existed. And then the timeline changes to where like only Uhura, Captain Harriman, and Chekhov even have vague memories that something's wrong.
Right.
But it's almost like the Terran Empire, because it turns out that Gary Mitchell ends up basically like being a galactic dictator because Kirk was never there to kill him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa. I gotta see this.
It is, like I said, it is the best. If you have not seen Star Trek of Gods and Men, go watch it, because it is the best fan-made Star Trek that's out there.
That is incredible.
Hands down. So tell me about the other instance of the Guardian of Forever.
Star Trek the Animated Series.
Oh, okay.
The OG cartoon. It's an episode called Yesteryear, where
you know what? I remember hearing about this, and that it had something to do with Yesteryear. I believe that they referenced that in the Star Trek 2009 movie. Is what I read.
Maybe, I don't know.
I haven't watched the episode to be able to know that.
Neither have I.
So
I found it in my research, and I haven't got it.
I found it in research while I was looking, because I did a little bit of research for this episode. I just didn't know a whole lot. So
now
but
that
I
I
remember reading about that.
Now that I'm caught up with Discovery, the only thing that I haven't finished all the way through is the animated series, which I should, because it's good.
So that's the episode where Spock has to go back in time and like help himself, right?
I'm not really sure exactly what the plot is, but Starfleet has a cooperation pact with the Guardian of Forever to do research. Yeah. Like he allows
The-
them to use the gateway to
the genesis of temporal investigations.
Right. Well, and that brings me to one of the weirdest parts about time travel in the OG series. This is one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek, but it's not even really an episode of Star Trek.
Oh, right.
I was telling you about
Yes.
this.
I
So-
remember reading about this a few years ago. So
It's an episode called Assignment Earth. So originally they were going to be doing a spin-off series starring Robert Lansing, and he was this guy named Gary Seven. Gary Seven was a human who was recruited by aliens that were able to send him through space and time to do stuff, to like save things or change change time, change events. Basically he's kind of like he's like the James Bond of the multiverse timeline.
when I remember when I heard about this show, or not show, but proposed show, when I heard about this episode and the plot of what was supposed to be the spinoff, I remember thinking it sounds like Star Trek Quantum Leap.
Yeah. It's
With the exception
it
of not
feels
being in
like that.
another person's body.
Right. It feels like that a lot. And what's fascinating about it too is how it starts. Is the captain's log is that they have been sent back in time by Starfleet to do research.
Do they explain how they go back in time at all?
No.
No. Why even bother?
Because at this point they know, because in the Naked Now, the very first instance, they've discovered time travel. And so they just kind of like whatever.
Now it exists. Deal with it.
The really unfortunate part about this is that the Gary Seven show never took off. The pilot was not really accepted. They didn't even get a chance to really shoot the original pilot, so instead all of the stuff that they were doing with it, they decided to just make a Star Trek episode out of it, which I'm glad they did, because it is so fun. It is legit a really fun episode, and it's one of my favorites, even though it's not really a Trek. So we've got one more on like the original series as far as a show. All Our Yesterdays. They go down to like a dying planet and encounter a librarian who has access to a device called an Atavachron, which is basically a time portal. And this one's really interesting. Basically, like, the planet is dying. Everybody's already gone. And this Atavachron allows people to travel back in time. And it's in this library. And basically, all the people who were able to survive and didn't want to leave the planet used this machine apparently to go back and live in their favorite period.
That would be fantastic.
Right, and live out the rest of your days in whatever time period that you wanted to.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Right, and so I think it's Bones and Spock and Kirk, of course, all end up in like different areas or something like that. It's been a while since I watched it, but it was actually a pretty damn good episode too.
Now, I think that one episode that we have to talk about, because it's kind of a staple of time travel in Trek, is the episode where they go back in time and Kirk falls in love with a woman.
Yes, I believe that isn't that the Guardian of Forever one?
It might be.
I
Like
think
I said,
that's
I haven't.
what it is.
I haven't seen enough of the original series, but I think you're probably right. But it ends up being something where if like she would have died in the regular timeline, and if they don't restore that, then something terrible happened. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but
Yeah. Okay, here I'm trying to find it because I'm looking at it. I'm thinking that actually is it. Yes, that is 100% it. Kirk falls in love with a woman named Edith Keeler. Also, it's because they're chasing a heavily medicated doctor. Leonard McCoy. He's all fucked up, and he runs through the gateway.
for
the Guardian Forever.
Right, yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And he's just manic, and he's running around, and Kirk and Spock go after to try and find him. But in the process, they spend like a long fucking time there, and Kirk falls in love. But in order to restore the timeline, he has to let the woman that he loves die. And yeah, that is That is legit one of the best episodes ever of Trek.
Well, and I think that, and I don't want to get too much into TNG, but I feel like there are elements, at least as far as like spending time in the past, that led into one of my favorite episodes of The Next Generation that most people aren't huge fans of. But when it comes to time travel, I think it's good.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you explain that one because I fucking hate that episode. So to round out the original cast, we got I know we've got 2 movies.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So there's Star Trek Save the Whale,
Right, which is Voyage Home, and in that that was my first. I think that was really my first instance that I can remember of Star Trek. Yeah. Doing time travel. And I remember the line like I heard it yesterday. I can hear DeForest Kelley saying it where he's talking about, oh yeah, no problem, just slingshot around the sun, and you know, like they talk about it like that's the normal way to do time travel, and like I said, that was my first foray into time travel in Star Trek. So I was like, oh, this must be the established way that they travel through time in the Star Trek universe. So for the longest time, I was always just like, oh, if they want to time travel, they just, you just slingshot around the sun. And then, like, so can't we just do that in real life? Like, isn't that how it works?
Right.
Superman did it in that one movie.
It's and like that's the thing is that movie, because they kind of mention like relativistic speeds, And it makes sense, sort of, not really, but sort of.
It would make sense if you were trying to travel forward in time, sure.
Right. Because at least then there's a little bit of like high concept idea,
Yes.
like if you're accelerating fast enough, time slows, you approach the speed, etc. It's not going to throw you back in time, but at least that I would put into the category of like kind of an explanation.
Yes.
Sort of,
Right.
And obviously, that movie is fantastic. Anybody who's a Trek fan has seen it, of course.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And then the other Trek movie that deals with time travel is First Contact.
No, I'm talking about before we get to that one.
Oh, okay.
With the OG
the original.
cast.
Okay, yeah.
The OG cast. Generations.
Oh, okay. I guess that kind of counts.
It has to count.
Yeah, I mean,
It's literally when Kirk dies.
yes, that's true. He gets flung through time, I guess.
And then he dies.
I don't I don't think about that as like a time travel movie. I just think about that as a contrived way to get them both on screen together.
No, me too. And the Nexus is kind of a big MacGuffin.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I guess that would fall under MacGuffin time travel. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But the whole thing with Guinan.
They say time is the fire in which we burn.
But it's a fascinating one because effectively Kirk is suspended, timeless until he pops out and has a really cringy death.
Yeah, the most cringy death.
Yeah, really
I would say
good.
that like as far as on-screen deaths go, it really didn't get like nobody took the cake until Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Returns.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that. Oh my god. Oh my god. So yeah, that's the original series. So Naked Now has an actual sort of an explanation. Cold Start of the Engines. There's an encounter with a black star. Does not explain it at all.
No.
There's Guardian of Forever, which is a MacGuffin, even though he's great.
Yeah, that's we don't know how the mechanics of it work. So yeah, absolutely.
Assignment Earth is we just went back in time. Don't think
We're
about
just
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All Our Yesterdays is actually a machine. It is explained. It is the archive thing and like a really cool high concept idea. Dude, I love the original series so much, dude. And then you got Star Trek 4, which is kind of an explanation, and then Generations is
I would say that
big MacGuffin.
I would say that Star Trek 4 is it falls under the explanation category for sure.
I think so too. Yeah.
So
It's better than like we have a time machine.
right, just press the button.
Right. Yeah. So Next Generation, we get into big MacGuffin territory.
Yeah. So what would you say is the best episode, the best time travel episode of the Next Generation?
Oh, fuck, dude. A Matter of Time.
Which one is that?
Matt Frewer, the dude who
Oh, the
like,
one that you
from like New Jersey, who
Right,
like
right, okay.
found a time
Yeah,
travel
yeah.
ship and shit. Yeah,
I
yeah.
swear like the 4 people in the comments, or like the nobody in the comments, but like the 4 people that watch this. If I'm wrong about this, please let me know in the comments.
Yeah.
We can actually get some engagement in this. But I'm pretty sure that was the dad from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Not Rick Moranis, but the next door neighbor, the one whose son bashed the window.
Totally look it up or whatever. It's
We're
fine.
not
Yeah.
doing that. So
So right off the bat, to address a big MacGuffin, Q.
yes,
Q is a giant MacGuffin.
yeah. I
I
hardly count Q's as time travel episodes, but they are. I mean, like in my mind, Q is always transporting them to like a different dimension where he just controls everything.
Sure, but there's Tapestry, and then there's All Good Things.
Tapestry's the one where they go and they're merry men, right?
No,
Oh, okay.
Tapestry is the one where Picard gets stabbed through the heart.
Oh,
That's when he first learned about it.
Right. See, and again, with time travel, like that's more of which, again, we have to, it's hard to clarify like what exactly counts and what doesn't, but that's,
Right.
to me, that's Star Trek's, what is the name of that movie? The black and white movie where he goes back in time. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
to me that episode is
yeah.
Star Trek. It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah, it absolutely is. And just to get it out of the way, Q also does do time travel, sort of, in a Voyager episode. I wrote it in my notes this way. There's an episode called Death Wish, where the Voyager accidentally finds a trapped, imprisoned Q. And he's been imprisoned because he wants to die. And the Q Continuum are like, you can't die. You're not allowed. You're a Q.
I vaguely remember that episode. Yeah.
And so when they're doing a trial, Q pulls people out of time that were impacted by this other Q.
To testify. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yep.
Quinn. He ends up naming himself Quinn before he does die. And yeah. I look, as much as I love Voyager, the direction they took Q and the Q Continuum in Voyager
Made him very silly.
I mean, it's an interesting concept. There were some aspects to it where you like get to see the Q Continuum where I think it's kind of a cool idea. Like this is like how your brain would interpret what you're seeing because you can't fathom what it even is. That's a cool high concept idea. But I don't think it was really pushed enough in that direction, and it just made it feel so fucking goofy. I don't know.
Yep. So my favorite episode of time travel in the Next Generation is not the episode that I was just talking about a few minutes ago.
Okay.
But the episode that I do think is my favorite kind of time travel episode, and I think it counts, they don't explain it really. I'm pretty sure that they don't explain how the time travel happens. The ship just appears out of a temporal rift, and that's Yesterday's Enterprise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going to say a totally different one.
No. That's I love that episode. Don't get me wrong, but if I had to rank them, I would say that Yesterday's Enterprise is obviously better.
So I do actually know how it happened with Yesterday's Enterprise, but please tell us about the because that sets up huge plot points in TNG.
Right. It was something that they were able to serialize later.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the first instances, I mean, in really like developing serialization that way.
Absolutely.
So the Enterprise C comes back in time at the moment that it was rescuing Klingons on a mission that it knew it was doomed. Like they knew that they were doomed, but they knew that the diplomatic implications. Well, actually, I mean, not necessarily, because when you go back and Rachel Garrett is talking to Picard, and she finds out that their ship, was doomed. She's like, well, then why don't we stay here? So, like, she was trying to do something noble, but I don't think that she knew that her ship was doomed. But in trying to save the Klingons, Worf actually being one of them, because wasn't it the what was the name of the station that they were on? I can't remember for the life of me. But anyway, so
Khitomer?
well, the Khitomer Accords weren't those from the Undiscovered Country, or is that?
Yeah. Ooh, man. Okay.
It might have been Khitomer, but because that was my first thought too, was that it was. But then I was like, well, isn't
I don't
Khitomer
think it.
from-
No, it wasn't Khitomer that she was trying to save.
But anyway, so in saving the few Klingons that she was able to save against the Romulans, the Klingons decided that the Federation did have honor, and that's part of what stopped the war with the Klingons.
Right.
And then she's flung through time, and that didn't happen. And so the very first scene, you see the Enterprise change from like the bright, calm beige color that everything is to like this dark and gritty tone takes over everything. And every Starfleet officer on the Enterprise has got a phaser on their hip, and it's because they've been at war ever since the Enterprise C got flung through time, and they have to determine what to do. Do they send the ship back knowing that it's probably doomed, or do they let them stay in a doomed future? And it's a really great philosophical episode.
It is. It really is. It was Narendra 3. Not Khitomer. I don't remember what the fuck Khitomer was. I think Khitomer was like, I think like Worf's father betrayed the Klingons at Khitomer or something like that was supposed to be done. And those Duras and like all that kind of. Yeah, no. Yesterday's Enterprise is probably one of the best time travel episodes ever. It's fantastic.
And
Why it happened? This is the explanation that they give. A temporal rift was caused by the high energy weapon fire exchange.
But doesn't that
of
happen?
The battle.
Doesn't that happen like any time that there's a battle?
I mean, and that's the thing that's so weird. It's so like if I remember it correctly, is the Enterprise C versus 3 Romulan warbirds.
Yep.
And that's it. So and that caused a temporal rift. What about like in the Dominion War?
Maybe it was because of the quantum singularity drives that the Romulan ships have mixed with the high energy phaser discharge from the Enterprise C's.
But the Dominion War, like
Dude.
we should have seen fucking temporal whirlpools.
When you have
everywhere.
when you have an episode a week to write, like you don't have time to think about like. I get it. So, but then another instance of time travel in the Next Generation that I think is really good that most people don't like is Time Zero.
Oh boy, here we go.
And I so like the again with the I don't necessarily remember the mechanics of how the time travel worked. I think it was some kind of device that the aliens were using or something stupid like that.
It's a snake staff.
Yeah, I do remember the snake staff. That was pretty dumb.
That's literally.
Oh, that's right. It was the snake that caused the temporal whatever to open. So
yeah.
But I really like the concept of Data being trapped in time.
True.
And using all of his skills to just completely dominate, and like within a day of like showing up with no resources at all, he's like a millionaire. He knows exactly what to do well, this is how I'm gonna thrive, and he starts building shit, and he's already like he's miles ahead of everybody around him, and I get a kick out of that. It's kind of campy and whatnot.
It's very Doc Brown.
The worst part of that episode has been made fun of by so many other people, and it's Samuel Clemens.
Mark Twain.
Yeah. They could have left Mark Twain completely out of that episode, and it would have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Still would have been, not great, but like, I don't know. I thought it was good.
I enjoy that episode. I think it's charming. I think it's fun. But yeah, it is absolutely.
I'm gonna follow you around and see how you do these things. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And Data's head has been around for what 500 years or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, his head is 500 years older than his body. It's really weird.
Maybe that's why his face looks so droopy in Picard.
Oh shit, we're throwing shade now. Okay, so but like here's the thing though. Do you remember why they went back in time?
Because they found Data's head in a cave,
Right.
in San Francisco, but then also weren't like souls being stolen or something like that?
Okay, so I'm trying to remember. Like, I'm not like trying to put you on the spot.
No,
I'm
so that
so
was the catalyst, was that somebody on the Enterprise gets recalled to Earth. Like,
Right.
and it's weird. They're like, we don't know why we're being recalled, and Picard and Data go down, and they're like, well, we've got to show you this, and they take him into this cave, and it's
Right.
like, bum bum bum.
Yeah,
here's his head.
there's Data's head, and
Yeah.
then they start the intro. So if I'm not mistaken, it was these aliens
Mhm.
that would travel through time and suck energy
out of people that
out
were
of
sick.
people that were sick and
Yeah.
were gonna die anyway. So they're like time traveling psychic vampires with a
Yes.
snake staff.
Yep, that's exactly what they were.
I fucking love Star Trek.
It was great.
Oh my god.
Dude, how can you see, like, I don't like regular vampire stuff, but like time traveling alien psychic vampires, I'm completely on board with.
Oh sure, dude, absolutely.
Those are the best kind.
So we've got an episode in TNG called Time Squared, and this is the one where Picard, so the Enterprise finds a shuttlecraft, I believe,
Yes.
and inside it is Captain Picard.
Yep.
But
and
he is
can't interact with anybody, or like he has trouble interacting with people.
right, and he's 6 hours in the future, and they're trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And in the logs, he leaves the Enterprise, and the Enterprise fucking blows up.
Well, that's how that's how the episode starts. Is like it starts with him going on to some conference or something, and like nothing's going on. He's like, bye.
No, he
bye.
had to abandon ship.
No, I didn't think. I thought that he was leaving.
No,
and
that's a different one.
okay.
That's a different. In this one, like, because it was a whole thing of Picard like doubting himself. He's like, "Why would you leave the ship? Why would you leave the ship?" And I guess it's because like whatever. So in my notes, it's an energy vortex, and I actually have watch on this, so I needed to get the details, but I ran out of time and I didn't get a chance to watch it. But basically, like whatever the phenomenon was he believed was following him.
Right.
And so most of the episode, there's this huge tension where Picard is like doubting himself. He's like, why the fuck would I, of all people, like leave my ship? Like that, I'm not cowardly like that. And like the whole thing kind of gets resolved. But it's a really twisty episode. And I really wish I'd watched it before we fucking recorded this.
Well, anyway, so moving on from that
It's
one.
the only one that I didn't do. There's one that's kind of time travel, Captain's Holiday, when he goes to Risa. It's not actually a time travel episode, but the people that are like the main, so they're these aliens called Vorgons, which I think there were Vorgons in Babylon 5. Those are Vorlons.
There were Vogons. There were Vogons in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Right,
They
Vogons,
had
Vorlons,
great,
and Vorgons.
Great poetry.
Great, fantastic poetry. The best. They're looking for they're time traveling aliens looking for some secret weapon.
Yeah, I remember
And
this episode.
they don't really explain.
This is the episode where Picard meets Vosh, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of it isn't really explained. It's technically kind of a time travel because like the whole thing stems from people like fucking around in time, and Picard's just trying to like chill, and this chick's trying to fuck Picard, and Picard's like, can I just chill? And they're
Well,
like,
and she's not even really trying to fuck him. Like, she's trying to like use Picard to avoid detection by other people.
yeah, and there's like a horny Ferengi,
Right.
and like, yeah, good episode,
Yeah.
but the matter of time's arrow, cause and effect. Fantastic episode. I know you remember this episode.
I remember the episode titles, but until you I know by the title that it was a good one because I remember it, but I don't remember the details of it until you start talking about it. So.
I'm just gonna explain how it starts, and then I think you should explain the episode because I know you know this episode by heart. Enterprise is flying along. All of a sudden, phenomenon happens, and another ship comes out of nowhere, and they fucking collide.
Oh, Kelsey Grammer.
Yes.
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 Oh man, this is such a good episode. This is
Time loop.
This is the one where Data has to send a message to himself through time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen this episode, but it's really good.
So good.
Yeah.
It's basically it's Groundhog Day
Right.
in Star Trek.
Yes.
And they're going throughout the day, but there's just enough of like wiggle room in this time loop where everything keeps happening over and over again. Where they start noticing that shit's different. I don't remember how long they end up saying that they were stuck
Wasn't
in
it something like 81 days or something like that?
Yeah, it was something crazy. But
Yeah.
like the Bozeman, the ship that collides with them, it was like
Years.
decades.
Yeah.
It was fucking crazy.
Because Kelsey Grammer comes on screen in this ship that's like the same class as the Reliant, and he's wearing the same kind of uniform from that era.
Yeah, from like the original series movies.
And that's when you're like, oh shit, something's up with this. So
Yeah, and it's a fantastic episode. It was another one that I was supposed to watch again, but like I remembered enough of it. It was
right.
fine. And then there's only one more that I really think is of note as far as in the show, and then we'll get to the movie. This one is called Firstborn. This episode sucks. This episode is shit.
Tell me about Firstborn.
So basically, Worf and Alexander are going to like a Klingon festival.
Anytime that there's an Alexander episode, like
Is
unless it's the mud bath with Luoxana Troy episode because of the ridiculousness of that episode.
Great episode.
That episode was great. Every other episode with Alexander is shit.
It's
sorry.
absolutely fucking terrible. Yeah. So they go to this Klingon festival, and Worf is trying to like teach him more about his culture and everything. And this older Klingon befriends Alexander and wants to teach him the way of the warrior. So much so that he like does weird shit, like attacks Alexander and like all sorts of fucking strange stuff. Turns out
It's Alexander from the future.
it's Alexander from the future, because in the future, Worf is assassinated right in front of him, and he needs to toughen himself up so that he will be a warrior
Yeah.
and can protect his dad.
Sounds about right.
And you know how he travels in time?
How?
I don't
No,
know.
no.
Dude, nobody knows.
He just shows up.
He's just like, yo, hey, what's up?
It's probably not even really Alexander.
Who knows, dude? Who knows? Oh
wow.
my god.
All
Just
right.
some fucking schizophrenic Klingon.
Your dad's gonna be assassinated. But let me teach you the way of the warrior so that doesn't happen.
Do you have any change?
Come over here to my panel van.
Oh my god.
I've got some
fuck.
nunchucks buried back there somewhere.
Oh my god. And then we come to the only good TNG movie.
Yeah. You're right. Absolutely. First Contact, which is,
Yes.
I think that I said that it was my favorite Star Trek movie, which, you know, it was like, honestly, in all honesty, going back to episode 2, you know, since we just recorded it.
Yeah.
I would say that my favorite movies were actually tied between Wrath of Khan and First Contact. But yeah, First Contact, they go back in time to First Contact Day, which ended up like never mentioned before in Star Trek, but now because of First Contact, like it's actually a revered holiday. Like I still see stuff online, like on, you know, Twitter or Instagram or wherever, talking about how April 5th is First Contact Day. So
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So just wait until we. I saw something on Twitter that said something about how Zephram Cochrane's parents would be like the same age as me, or like, or something like that, or maybe a little bit younger.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, about how like Zephram Cochrane in like the Star Trek universe would like have already been born by now.
Wow. That's crazy.
But yeah. So
and his real name is Elon Musk.
Jesus, no, no, it's
God.
Ash AXZ7 or whatever.
Oh shit, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, it would be Musk's kid is Zephram Cochrane.
Oh, dude,
Like,
that's some deep lore.
They really call him Zephram, but his name's Ash, whatever. Or his real name is Zephram, and they wanted to protect him, and like so they didn't tell
Because
him,
they know. Because
yeah,
they were warned by
by the AI.
or
We're getting deep lore.
we're
here.
getting some deep lore.
So yeah, First Contact, they travel back to First Contact Day by following a Borg sphere
Yep.
that has decided that it's going to travel back in time and assimilate Earth. And it leads to a great action movie. Riker gets to fly with Zephyr Cochrane on the first warp flight.
Yep, him and Geordi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get to listen to Steppenwolf. It's pretty great.
Oh, it's fucking dope, dude.
I think that movie is directly responsible for the Beastie Boys scenes in both Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek Beyond.
I agree. I think
'Cause
so.
That was the first instance where they're like, you know what would be really great in some Star Trek is some rock.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
it worked. It worked in that scene, but
I just wish I wish they had picked a different song for Star Trek Beyond.
yeah, no, absolutely, because having that Beastie Boys song be in it twice was really dumb.
Yeah, it really took me out of the fucking movie.
I'm like, oh, we're back to okay, yeah, because
Yeah.
just shove it in our face.
They're better. Fucking play some Deftones. Come on, dude. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, and that First Contact had implications going to Enterprise.
Oh yeah.
There's
absolutely,
a
100%.
direct tie-in to Enterprise, which actually leads to one of my favorite fan theories that I've read recently, and it might have been something that I read on Shitty Daystrom, somebody just shitposting about it.
Sure.
I can't remember where I read it to give credit to the person that doesn't watch this anyway. I just hammer on that every episode. I'm like, yeah, nobody really gives a shit about our podcast, so
Not yet.
yeah, right.
I'm working on it.
So, the theory said that every instance of time travel in an episode of Star Trek, like how our universe linear progresses, affects Star Trek back and forth, from then on.
Okay.
So like every instance of time travel kind of leads to the next one.
Huh.
And it definitely works for the theory for First Contact.
Yeah.
And if you think about it in that linear progression sense, the very first instance of time travel in Star Trek the original series could be what led to all of the other instances of time travel that followed in all of the different ways, because it kind of broke the timeline when they traveled in time the very first time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that's totally possible.
But
I
yeah.
mean, and one of the things that's really difficult when you get into like the whole paradoxical nature of time travel, especially in Star Trek, is kind of the notion of, I mean, well, like, fuck, dude, if you ever watched like the series Loki, to have a really good visualization of how things can kind of split and
Branch
like
out.
multiversal sort
Yes.
of thing, and that's a big thing in movies and TV these days.
Well,
But-
it's a big thing in philosophy these days, and I think that
Sure.
philosophy develops obviously as each generation progresses, and I think that
Yeah.
branch theory, or like the multiple multiverse of like every decision, every linear decision leads to a branch of what is and what isn't at the same time.
Causality, yeah.
Yeah, and then you are just riding out whatever branch wave that the probability universe that you live in. It's kind of the same deal, but
String
getting super
theory.
deep, yeah.
Well,
So,
it's
not good.
one thing though that's interesting, because like while they will talk about it in Star Trek, they maintain a very specific linear Kelvin timeline. And
Yes.
like that's how it's supposed to go. No matter how fucking wacky and batshit, and we are about to get wacky and batshit as fuck, they still maintain that this is a singular solitary line that we're all watching, which you kind of have to for a medium like this. But with how often, I mean, shit, dude, just in my list, 39.
Yeah, and that's not
39
out
episodes?
out of 54 or something like that. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is staggering. So like as I'm looking at my list, the TNG is tied for the amount of times, including First Contact, is tied the amount of times where there's actually legitimate time travel, at least as far as my list goes, with Voyager.
But
The
chronologically, aren't we up to Deep Space Nine next?
We're about to do Deep Space Nine.
Okay.
Deep Space Nine, according to my list, but like again, like I constructed my list totally different than other people did. The original series, Deep Space Nine, and Enterprise are tied at 7 each. It's just how it fucking happened.
Weird.
So,
So the time travel episodes that I remember from Deep Space Nine are the ones where Miles keeps traveling through time because he's got like some kind of weird something in his.
It's called Visionary. Yeah, it's so I didn't get a chance to actually watch it because I was busy doing stuff, but you did watch the episode.
I watched most of it. Yeah.
Okay. It was mild radiation poisoning.
Right.
So explain what happens in that because I didn't get a chance to really watch it.
So basically, he keeps getting thrown to like a few hours. I think it's 5 hours in the future is what it is, and he's actually able to interact with himself in the future, and then like gets pulled back each time, and like he'll pass out. It's kind of like when the
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
and then there's like there's like a brawl with Klingons that like he tries to get Quark to avoid, but it ends up being he dies, and he sends Bashir a message in the past and is able to save his life. And
Right. Isn't there something like there was there was some drama with Romulans on board?
yeah, that's where the fight with the Klingons came from, because the Romulans and the Klingons were both on board at the same time.
Right.
And
then
then I believe that the reason that the whole thing started is because there were like 3 Romulan ships that were around Deep Space Nine
that were
actually
close.
they were gonna destroy it or something
Yeah,
like that. And
that's right. That's right. Yeah. That's a wild episode.
it
That's
was
actually,
a wild episode.
Yeah, that's actually my the second on my list. That's a good episode. I mean, anything with O'Brien is a good episode.
Yeah.
O'Brien's the fucking best.
The
dude.
best and most racist officer in Starfleet.
Is that why we like him? Oh no.
No, that's not why we like him.
Oh no.
No way. But he, you know what? He learns from his prejudices.
Prejudices.
Prejudices. I just had a stroke. Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Don't worry. Walk it off.
And then the only other episode of time travel that I remember from Deep Space Nine is one of my favorite episodes in all of Star Trek, I would say. And that's Trials and Tribulations.
Tribulations,
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do remember that the time travel mechanic of that episode was definitely a MacGuffin.
Yeah, you remember what it was?
It was the orb. It was the Bajoran
Orb
of time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
But the one of the surgically altered Klingons from the original series ends up on Bajor, or is it? Yeah, he ends up on Bajor during Cardassian occupation, and it's like insulting to him because he's trapped as a human, and like he's really a Klingon, and so he decides that he finds out about the time orb, and he's actually the one that activates it to send them back in time so that he can plant a bomb that will kill Kirk so that he'll be seen as a hero of the Empire.
Oh, fuck, that's right. I get so wrapped up in how fun the episode is. I totally forgot the fucking plot.
Yeah, it's a good episode. It's so good.
It's pretty great watching Dax like thirst after Kirk.
Oh yeah, no, she wasn't. She was thirsting after Spock.
Oh no, that's right.
Yeah, you think it's Kirk, and then she's like, no, it's Spock.
Yeah, that's right.
And she also implies that not Curzon, but the host that she had before Curzon had a sexual encounter with
McCoy.
McCoy, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Shit,
When
dude.
McCoy was a kid.
Uh-oh.
Not like a kid, but like he was young. Like he was. Yeah,
Okay.
it was-
Dude, I need to watch that episode again.
yeah,
that one was
it's
fucking great.
really good.
Okay.
So that's 2 of the 7. Jesus.
Yeah. So the very first one is called Past Tense. How they travel in time. It's a transport accident.
Of course it is.
Dax, Cisco, and Bashir are transported to 2024. This is actually a fantastic episode. It's a really fantastic episode.
Are they still dealing with the fallout of coronavirus?
Maybe actually, because there's a lot of disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
It's
poignant.
2024.
Oh, man.
There are ghettos. Like there are sections of the cities where like all of the undesirables have to be housed because we can't fucking feed everybody anymore. And like nobody can afford a place to fucking live.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
and like they're like they almost are looking at the camera. They don't, but they might as well be. They're almost looking at the camera, being like, how could anybody let another human being starve in the street or be cold and not have a home? How could human beings do that to each other? So, yeah, and it's right before the Bell riots, where an activist like rises up and like he ends up, and it causes like it's a watershed moment before Earth becomes more progressive and like focused on making everybody healthy and not die, and it's really wild. And Cisco has to pretend to be this guy because I guess he like accidentally dies or something. I don't really remember. But it's like a really heavy-handed, like, the fuck is wrong with the world, bro?
Yeah.
And as we get closer to it, because we're like less than 3 years away from like that point in time, the more like relevant it's becoming to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
man, take a walk through Portland or Eugene.
So then there's another episode called, we already talked about Visionary, which is Chief O'Brien's like time travel one. The Visitor, while watching a wormhole inversion, an accident from the Defiance warp core hits Cisco and it sends him into subspace. It sucks him out of reality into subspace. And the whole episode is an elderly Jake telling his story to a reporter about how his dad would appear.
I remember this episode. Yeah.
Beautiful episode. What like just I'm gonna be saying like one of the best episodes ever.
Well, some of these episodes are really good.
They're really fantastic, and this one is great
well
too.
Written. And I think that, you know what I think it is, Jeff? I think a lot of this has to do with the Trek that we have been taking in on a regular basis. And so when we contrast that to what we have been watching, like a lot of these episodes are the best Trek ever.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Tony Todd, who played Kern, Worf's brother, also played the Candyman.
Right.
Legendary actor, plays elderly Jake Sisko, and he just recounts like how his dad got pulled out of time into subspace and like just kind of flashes forward, and then he realizes that it's actually because he's energetically in some way technobabble entangled with him, and that he has to commit suicide at the right time when his dad appears in order to free him. And so Cisco has been, even though this is like decades and decades, Cisco like had the accident, then, it flashes forward like, I don't know, years and years and years, and he's got maybe 2 minutes with his son, and he's obviously older. This happens like a few times, and then he's holding his son, who's an old man who dies in his arms, and then he's back. And like from then on, you can see like there's this almost desperate like need to connect with my son kind of energy throughout the rest of the series. Beautiful episode. And I think that technically counts as time travel.
Yeah, I mean,
time suspension.
Yeah, sure. I'll what do the judges say? Yeah, they're gonna give it to you.
Okay. All right. Little Green Men.
Oh.
I thought you would remember this one.
Yeah. Yep.
This one's fantastic. It starts out with Nog is going to Starfleet Academy.
Good job, Nog.
Yeah. And
I think he gets a ship named after him in Voyager or something like that. Or I mean, in Discovery. I mean.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
They're in a shuttle from Quark's cousin. I think it's Galen. And I don't remember if it's either sabotage or it's just a shitty shuttle. I can't remember exactly which. I didn't get a chance to watch it. But Quark was smuggling chemosite. And they have to, like, because the fucking shuttle is so messed up, they have to, like, vent warp plasma. And when warp plasma and chemosite react, time travel!
Because everything time travel.
Yes. And basically, do you remember? So they go back in time to a specific period in Earth's history. Do you remember what event it was that they basically caused?
I do. So they travel back to the year 1947, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I remember the year, but I think you're
pretty
on.
sure it's
yeah.
1947, because if I remember history correctly, that's what year that event took place. And they end up in this little town in New Mexico.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep. Roswell.
it wasn't weather balloons, people.
Nope.
It was Ferengi.
It was bumbling ass Ferengi. And only they managed to escape with the help of Odo, because Odo, of course, stashed it. He you know what? Fuck station security. They're fine. I'm just gonna ride in Quark's shuttle. For fucking.
See, it would be great if if we come to find out that Odo can actually change his density so that he can split himself in two and actually be in two places
That'd
at
be
once
so fun.
and look like the original size, but he basically just weighs half as less.
Oh yeah,
half as much.
I thought about shit like that before with the changelings. Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
Odo's actually still on the station in this episode, but he's also in Quark Shuttle. And
Right.
and then his memories just merge when he merges back together.
So
That way it's not murder like Tuvix.
So, oh my god, fucking poor Tuvix. Poor Tuvix,
Anyway.
dude. Yeah, there were more than 7 in Deep Space Nine, but I lumped a lot of them together because the Prophet magic and Orb of Time magic, it's MacGuffin, it's the same shit.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
same shit. So we've got a session. It was a episode where an old Bajoran priest from way back in time is suddenly released out of time stasis, and he's like, "Yeah, the Bajoran people, we should all go back to having our I don't know what the word is, but it's basically dharmas, Hindu dharmas. So depending on what your family was, you have to do this kind of
Like
thing.
a guild, kind of.
Yeah, and that one's dull, and it's a shitty. I mean, it's not a shitty episode.
Is it just time travel because he's been suspended out of time or whatever?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, skip.
And Cisco has to go talk to it takes him to go talk to the prophets. The prophets are like, we don't even know what you're talking about.
That would be like
Time is
saying
weird.
that would be like saying that Space Seed is a time travel episode, then, wouldn't it?
I guess, yeah. And then the other one that's really interesting with the Orb of Time is Kira gets a creeper stalker call from Dukat. And Dukat is like, I fucked your mom.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's basically what he says. I'm like, yo, I fucked your mom. And she's like, no, you didn't. He's like, yeah, I fucked your mom. And she's like, fuck you, you piece of shit. And so she goes and she checks the Orb of Time.
And it turns out that he did fuck her mom.
Right. And it turns out that Kira goes back in time and finds out that actually, yes, her mom chose to fuck Dukat to save her family. Now, what's really fucking weird is there's this whole bomb plot, an assassination plot against Dukat. And Kira knows about it, but then ends up foiling the bomb plot, which ends up her going back in time and doing all this bullshit basically fulfills the timeline that already happened. It's really convoluted.
I mean, everything has to happen the way that it happened, right? Isn't that that's how you explain it? So if they change the timeline, it's because they were meant to change the timeline, and if the timeline stays the way that it is, it's because that's how things were destined to be.
I guess so.
So either way, we got this covered.
All right,
So I think that's really disgustingly creepy, especially in the context of how thirsty Dukat was for Kira. But then,
oh yeah, weird.
But then on top of that, how thirsty the actor was for Nana Visitor.
That's that is a known thing.
Man, I watched that documentary, the What We Left Behind.
Yeah, the DS9 documentary.
Yeah, and when they
Mark
get
Alamo.
when they get to him, that is some creepy ass shit that guy says.
He was into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really felt like nobody on the set was comfortable around him.
Yeah, that's really strange. And I've always loved Dukat because, he was always over the top and kind of the tip of the arrogance is a little annoying, but he brought so much interesting character, and his character itself was such a dynamic force of change throughout the show. He was integral. He was important.
Well,
but then,
but as a foil, but
he's creepy.
and I think that the reason that his character feels so genuine is because of how genuinely creepy the actor was, and just brought that to the character.
Oh, that's so depressing.
Sorry to be a bummer. Like, it grosses me out when you think about and I really like. There's a big thing on the Star Trek memes subreddit, like, where anything disgusting that took place in Enterprise or the Next Generation or DS9 is just blamed on Rick Berman.
Why though?
Because, like, apparently he was a creep. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
I've
not, like,
never heard that.
This is just what I'm gathering from, like, what I'm seeing and stuff. But, like, I've heard some allegations and stuff about things that, like, things that Roddenberry wanted. And
oh no, Roddenberry was a creep.
Well,
Roddenberry was creepy as fuck, dude.
I think a lot of these guys were, but anyway, we're gonna move on from that. So,
hey, you guys, check out our next episode where we talk about the sex pests of Star Trek.
About how all of the creepy men in power were disgusting perverts.
That'll be a fun episode.
Oh God.
There's only 2 more on DS9. There's Children of Time. There's another episode that's very similar to this. We'll get similar to this, but in a different series, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But crew of the Defiant find a planet surrounded by an energy barrier. This is the time travel. It's an energy barrier.
Like the energy barrier at the galactic center of the universe?
No, different.
No, different one. Okay,
yeah, different energy barrier.
Because you need a starship to get through that one.
Anyway, so on this planet, once they get down there, they find their descendants from 200 years in the past.
Oh, man.
Because they realize that the energy barrier, when they try to leave the planet, will cause them to be thrown back in time 200 years and crash.
That's right. I do remember. And they have to work with, like, their descendants to figure out how they can get off the planet.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, the plan is actually that they're going to go ahead and crash. Because, like, it's a thriving colony. And these are all, people who have lived full lives and everything like that. And what's fascinating, too, is, like, when they crash, because of the energy barrier, Odo goes liquid form, and he's, like, in his bucket. But Odo is still alive 200 years later because he's a fucking changeling, and he doesn't age. And
is he still liquid 200 years later?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. He's reconstituted, and he figured out how to manage to live despite it. But in the crash that will happen, Kira dies, and Odo never stops mourning that. And so old Odo, sabotages their efforts to crash and makes them escape.
Nice.
Because he wants Kira to live, thus dooming all of those people to non-existence because he has a big boner for Kira.
Nah, that's not dooming them. That's just, they probably existed in another,
They just yeet.
branch timelines or whatever.
They just yeet. It's fine. It's cool. Whatever. Just don't think about it. It's fine.
It's fine.
He just did a genocide.
There's lots of things in Star Trek that you have to not think about.
He did a temporal genocide.
You can't always think about the implications of what they put on the screen for, a weekly show.
He's like, all of these people, they might be valid sentient human beings, but I haven't gotten up in them guts yet. So, and you like it.
Okay. Anyway.
But this is also the first time that Kira has any idea that Odo is actually interested in her, because old Odo is like, I'm not gonna let young me be a pussy anymore. And that's
fantastic.
And that's what really starts them kind of on that journey towards pairing up.
I
not the most charismatic coupling.
If you put a little bit of thought into it, I can see why, like, just about any woman would want to be with Odo.
Oh, dude. Oh, 100%. I mean, fuck, I'd want to be with Odo.
Right.
He can make anything. I mean, anything.
Anything.
And then the last one is kind of time travel. It's a time travel. Time's Orphan. Molly O'Brien, dumbass, stupid ass little kid that she is, falls into a fucking alien portal. Who the fuck
God,
just leaves
Molly,
a portal
Molly
around?
and Keiko, man, they're two of the most loved characters.
Keiko's like, whoops, I got a paw wraith in me. Oh, damn. No, I told you, you need to wash your hands. Now you got a paw wraith.
Oh God,
That's not what Brian sounds like, but whatever.
that's your fucking. That was Scottish, you dick.
Same shit. So
Oh, man, you're lucky Griffin doesn't watch this podcast.
Oh, I know. She falls into a time portal, throws her 300 years in the past. They go to save her, and they're 18 years late or some shit like that. Now she's like this weird feral child, right?
Oh, right. This is the episode where he just yeets her back into the portal to get his kid back.
So no, it's worse than that, dude. It's so worse than that. It's so worse than that. Okay, so their little girl's like, bah! She falls into the well, and then they pull her out, and she's 18, but she's fucking crazy and feral. And like, and here's the fucked up part. This episode is fucked. So Starfleet, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This episode is so
man.
fucked up. Okay. Starfleet, and I'm not fucking around here. Starfleet is like, we're gonna put your daughter in a mental institution. Basically.
Right, which you would.
Okay. And they're like, no, we don't want to put our feral child into a mental institution. And then so they're like, Captain, we want to throw her into the time portal again. And he's like, okay.
Something that she's probably got like PTSD about is like, you know, like this was the moment that fucked up her whole life. Like, no, get me the fuck away from that portal.
So, but the thing is, they do. They fucking chuck her in the portal. But then she goes back to the time when she first went through as a little girl, and she's like, what the fuck? No! Yeet! And throws her back out. And so young Molly comes back out there like, oh, thank God that worked out. Okay. All right. Let's go home. Fuck, I love Star Trek.
The lengths that the writers will go to when they have to wrap everything up in 48 minutes or whatever. Well, how do we get Molly back to normal? Let's just throw her back into the portal again. That'll do it.
They were just fucking my kid, mental institution. Yeet.
No way. That'll make it really awkward for the family reunions.
Where's Molly? 300 years in the past. It's fine. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. It was that or a mental institution. Okay, so that's DS9.
All right.
And now we're into Voyager.
Now, here we go.
Now, what's weird is I actually think that Voyager has some of the best time travel episodes. I really do.
So the one that comes to mind right away is Year of Hell.
Right. Right.
Because-
Which is kind of a time travel episode, but also kind of not.
It's more like a temporal side story.
It is. It is. And it is a fantastic two-parter. And it gets like kind of an honorable mention. I really did want to talk about it before we get to the other ones too, because it's referenced in another one. But the basic idea behind it is that they're trying to restore an empire. So they're using this ship to like go and evaporate fucking entire civilizations to restore an empire. And it's a really, really good episode.
If you start getting a contact high from my Raffi's ragweed, please let me know. So
I will let you know.
I can stop.
Because I'll start babbling.
I like Raffi have to wallow my sorrows in ragweed.
Right. So the first one actually that happens is called Time and Again. This is actually a really, really fascinating episode. It's very daring in what they were doing. And it's also the 4th episode ever of Voyager.
So episode 4, they just come right out the gate with time travel, huh?
Right out the gate. So they show up to a planet that just got fucking wiped out. The whole population is totally wiped out. It's called Time and Again. There are temporal anomalies drifting around, and Tom Paris and Janeway get sucked into one. They're now a day in the past, and they discover that this planet uses polaric energy for its some planets would use like nuclear energy or coal energy or whatever. This is polaric energy, and it's very unstable. They join a group of saboteurs that are trying to shut down the power plant, and then they realize that the time rift that Voyager is using to try and rescue him is what will trigger the explosion. So then they have to stop that in order to they have to stop it, and then suddenly it's like the beginning of the episode again. The planet is fine. The reason why I think it's so interesting and it's so daring is that, like, granted, it's one of those episodes where, you know, it's a time travel episode where they're like, oh, well, everything's fine, and it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, resets at the end of the episode.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But it is kind of like a pretty daring one because the paradox is so strange. It's one of those things that, like, it doesn't really matter in the end because nobody actually would have been consciously aware. The only person that knows it happened is us, is the viewer.
Right.
But it was interesting, especially for, like, you know, such an early episode in the series. Then another one, a really interesting one, is called Eye of the Needle. The crew discover a micro wormhole and attempt to communicate through it. They communicate.
Micro-wormhole.
Yeah, super tiny.
Right.
Beep, beep, beep. And they can communicate with the Alpha Quadrant, and they make contact with Romulans. And so they're talking to these Romulans, and the Romulans even manage to beam through this micro wormhole the captain of their ship. And he's talking to them and shit, and they find out that actually they're talking through a wormhole that goes through not only space but
And
also
time.
time, and it's 20 years too early. And they can't pollute the time stream, so they can't, like, just beam over to the Romulans to, like, help save or anything. But the Romulan is, like, really super cool, and he's like, just give me your messages, and I will make sure in 20 years to send them along. But they find out later when they look through the historical records that he died 4 years before they got ripped to the other side of the galaxy, and they have no idea whether or not the messages were actually received.
Right. Man,
Interesting
that would have
concept.
been that would have been really cool if, like, that came into play later on.
100%.
It would have also been really cool if, like, they beamed him through the wormhole, and then he got stuck on Voyager and had to be, like, part of the crew.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be dope because
Yeah.
we've never had a Federation ship that had a Romulan crewman. That would be really fascinating.
That we know of.
Well,
That's not true. That's not true. Remember that episode where they do the McCarthy trials on the Enterprise?
yes, Ensign Tarsus.
Is that what his name was?
That's what his fucking. I
Yeah.
remember that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It turns out that he's like
He's half Romulan.
Half Romulan.
Yeah, half Romulan, half Vulcan.
Yeah.
Just like Oh.
So then there is Future's End. I just watched this one today. They're confronted by the time ship Aeon.
Oh man.
And this is from the 29th century, a dude named Captain Braxton. He takes it upon himself.
Braxton.
He's like, there was a disaster that Voyager caused that destroyed all of the Earth's solar system. And so he comes back to destroy them. They somehow managed to easily defeat him. Somehow, even though he's
Delta
got,
Quadrant.
Yeah, well, I mean, this really wasn't that far into the series, and so this ship is like 500 years more advanced, and they're just like,
Man, I gotta tell you, I think that there's something about the timeline of current Trek versus, because because Discovery goes 900 years into the future, and like they're the smartest motherfuckers when they get there.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Wow.
So that might have had something to do with it.
I guess so.
Something happens to pollute the time stream, and everybody's just.
Yeah. So
It's like Idiocracy.
right. So they.
I mean, we're already seeing that. We're already seeing that
my
with
God.
Picard.
Go away, I'm baiting. Yeah. So they easily smack him, and then it causes like the temporal rift mechanics stuff that he had going on, and it sucks him and then them through a temporal rift, and they end up in the year 1996, which is strange because it was filmed in 1996.
That's so weird. It's kind of how like when the Enterprise in the original series gets knocked into the 1960s.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Or on Enterprise when they get smacked back to 2004.
Oh God.
Very weird how specific these years are.
It's so strange. And you know what? It's also weird how Picard season 2 is going to be going back to 2022.
Oh yeah, that's strange. Weird. I wonder why. Weird. Why did they pick those years in specific?
I love how that's a terrible Star Trek trope, and fucking Picard season 2 is already like
They're just like, fuck it, we're gonna
let's do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude.
We spent. Sorry if you're wearing earphones.
Yeah. So this episode, it's a two-parter. Guest star Sarah Silverman. She works for SETI. Yeah,
no,
she does.
Oh no,
She does. Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
she has a caper with Tom Paris and Tuvok.
Santa Inc.'s own Sarah Silverman.
That's right. She's not awful in it. I mean, she's,
Honestly, like younger Sarah Silverman, and I still to this day think she's fucking gorgeous.
Oh, she's a
I
beautiful
think
woman.
she's super hot.
Sure.
I've always thought that she was beautiful, but as far as a person goes,
She's
like,
been hard to swallow the past 6 or 7 years or
Yeah.
whatever. But so it turns out that Captain Braxton was sent like 30 years prior. And then now some rich asshole, some like Elon Musk motherfucker has the time ship, and he's gonna be the one that causes the disaster.
nice
Because he's gonna
that
try
they
and go
blame
forward.
on Voyager.
Right. And so instead they have to go and stop him. And it's very cute. It's a very cute episode.
You know what? It's like Star Trek Save the Whales, where they go back to 1986.
It super is. It super is.
It's not a cliched trope in Star Trek at all.
So then there's the Benjamin Button episode.
The Benjamin Button episode. I
Yeah.
don't remember this one.
Okay. So it's like one of the only decent episodes with Kes. Because Kes sucks.
Oh, wasn't this after Kes had left the series?
No. We're getting to that one.
Oh, okay.
That one is fucking terrible.
Wait,
no.
is that one a time travel episode?
Oh yeah.
Too?
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Oh yeah. So in this one, Kes is an old woman and she's dying. She's on her deathbed. And the doctor uses a biotemporal chamber to try and extend her life. What is that? I don't know. But it basically is interacting with a temporal-based weapon that she was exposed to in the past. So now she starts living in reverse.
Fantastic.
So she is like on her deathbed, and then it's like 10 or not 10 because she only lives to be like 6 or something like that. And then it's like 6 months prior, then it's 6 months prior, and then it's 6 months prior. It sequentially goes backwards, and she has to convince the doctor to help her stop this phenomenon. So what's fucking weird about this? So it's weird because it works, but she has to go all the way back to being like a fetus.
And then grow forward again.
And then like kind of goes, and then it's back to current day. Fucking, I don't know, dude. But here's what's fucking crazy: the temporal weapons that she was affected by are by the Krennims, the Krenim Empire from Year of Hell.
Oh, yeah.
And this episode aired before Year of Hell.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like a preview before like Year of Hell happened. So
That's really cool.
yeah. Oh man, God, some of these are fucking nuts.
Kes Have you seen Kes these days? Because man, she's looking pretty hot.
Oh no, dude. The actress who plays Kes is rough. I don't remember all of what she's been arrested for but she's like she's
I know.
schizophrenic, I think, isn't she?
I don't know if it's that. Like, there's definitely something going on, but like the mugshot pictures, and like,
It's so bad.
oh yeah.
Oh man, it breaks your heart. What now? Who's more nutty, Kes, like the girl played Kes, or Lark Voorhees from Saved by the Bell,
Oh.
who played Lisa Turtle?
Oh.
Boy,
Oh man.
I don't know, man.
Or Amanda Bynes.
Oh yeah, Amanda Bynes had a hard time too, didn't
Yeah.
she? Yeah.
Or Britney Spears. It's like there's a like a common theme among these.
Yeah. Some of these actors, yeah. Wow. Woof.
Definitely is the business that young women should try to strive to get into.
Fuck, man. It'll chew you up. There's an episode called Timeless. This is a fucking great episode. Starts out, there's Chakotay and Kim. It's 15 years in the future.
Are the two characters that I care the most about.
And they find Voyager underneath a sheet of ice on a planet.
I vaguely remember this.
Yes. This is a fucking great episode. Okay. What happened was they were in the Delta Flyer and they were trying to do an experiment with slipstream technology to create a slipstream, and Voyager would fall behind them to get home faster.
Right.
But an accident happened and they lose Voyager, and actually Voyager ends up like on this ice planet. Everybody fucking dies.
Do they explain? Oh, I guess they probably say that like Tom Paris has to be flying Voyager or something. Is that their reason why he's not?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And like they've been basically spending like 15 years trying to recover the ship. Now, what's really interesting about this too, and they have to warn the ship by like communicating with Seven of Nine's Borg implant. They use like a Borg time device or some shit. But they're being pursued because they're not supposed to do it. It's against like Temporal Prime Directive or some shit. They're being pursued by the USS Challenger, captained by Geordi LaForge.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I haven't seen this. I mean, like, I might have seen this episode a long time ago, but I don't remember it. I do remember seeing plenty of screenshots and stuff from it. So
Fucking great episode.
yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I was actually gonna put my foot down and be like, we have to watch this episode in specific,
We should have.
but we just didn't have time.
There's
We didn't
probably
have time. We
I
should have
know,
time traveled.
We're gonna have to time travel again and
Oh
like
man.
go back and spend some time. You know what? Maybe that's what we'll have to do after we're done with this episode. We'll have to see if we can find a way to go back in time so that we can just sit and binge episodes.
That's a really good idea.
I think that's what we'll have to do.
That's what we're gonna have to do.
Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Another fantastic, like all of these are great episodes. Like Voyager really did shine when it was doing time travel. Relativity. Voyager's about to be destroyed, but a 29th century time ship called the Relativity pulls Seven of Nine out of the ship just before it does. They explain that there's a bomb that's been planted on the ship at some point in time in the past. So they start sending her back to try and figure out who it is, who like plants it and disarm it, and like she dies, so they have to pull another Seven out of the time stream.
Oh man.
Like earlier. And at one point she has to win Janeway's trust, because Janeway's like seen her throughout the years now, to go and uncover like what happened and like who's been planting this bomb. Turns out the bomb was planted by a future version of the captain of the Relativity, because he was pissed about how much Voyager fucked with time. Yeah.
That's great.
It's fucking wild. So like his own crewmates have to like arrest him, like, sir, you are under arrest for future crime.
But all we've been Jesus. Oh God. Okay.
Now what's weird about it though, so they end up allow Janeway and Seven to retain their memories of what happened. They could have wiped their memories, but they decide not to. and that actually deepens their bond of friendship and trust throughout the rest of the series. Is actually this time caper
Nice.
that they have to go through.
Yeah, and they do, like, you can see that relationship, especially like in Endgame, where the first time that she sees Seven, who, you know, spoiler alert if you know, never seen Star Trek Voyager, Seven is apparently dead in the one timeline in Endgame.
Yep.
So when she sees Seven for the first time, she's like, "Oh my gosh, Seven!" and she's all nostalgic about it. And Seven just kind of looks at her like, "Why is this lady looking at me with hungry eyes?"
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have you explain Endgame here in just a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fury. Fury is the episode where an old dusty Kess shows up,
Oh God.
and she's like a super powered
Yeah.
monster,
Yep.
and she wants to go back in time to, like, you know, fucking just change everything because people were mean. She went off to go and explore, but she wasn't ready, and then she's really bitter about it, so she comes back and just fucks everything up.
She like assumes that like Voyager was mean to her because like doesn't it have something to do with like her perception of how long ago it was or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. And she travels through time by she slams her fucking ship into Voyager, but beams out at the last minute, and then she's using psychic powers to rip Voyager up, and then she grabs a warp core and takes the energy and travels through time. You're like, oh, okay.
Sure. Well, at least they're
Fucking why not?
At least they're consistent with the warp core, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And then the last one before we talk about Endgame is one called Shattered. This is also a really fucking great one. Really highly rated too. It was in the last season. The ship collides with a chronokinetic surge from a rift in space. Sure. But rather than it being sent through time, now all throughout the ship is different timelines. Different things that happen to the ship in different locations are happening right then and there. And so if you move through the ship, you're moving through periods of time and shit that happened in the past. So it's like it's a callback of all these different eras of Voyager.
Oh, and do they use like actual episode stuff?
Well, I mean, like they bring back old characters like what's her name? Keska is like in one part, and there's like a Kazon like invasion. Another one is like apart from like some Borg attacks and shit. It's like the only good Chakotay episode because he's like, you know, front and center. And then, you know, the writers eventually were like, Chakotay's not that interesting, so Janeway has to join.
Endgame is the only good Chakotay episode.
Is it? Is it? Okay, tell us about Endgame, the very last episode of Voyager.
So yeah, Endgame starts with Janeway at Chakotay's grave. And then the credits roll.
We don't like. I like Richard Beltran. I do.
He's a good guy, but like the character
Sucks.
and he's such a caricaturization. But anyway, no, Endgame starts.
Hang on. I've been thinking about this for a while, and we're finally talking about Chakotay again. Do you remember the last episode of TNG where there was Wesley?
Where he goes off to be one of the travelers or whatever.
But the group, the planet full of
space Native Americans.
Yes, I have always wanted a moment where Chakotay talks about like the day that their deliverance was his people's deliverance. Like I wanted Chakotay to be from that tribe.
I was gonna say like that would be great. That would have been Star Trek like really owning it.
Oh, that would have been like Star Trek making like the white savior of the space Native Americans. I'm sorry. I fucking can't.
No, I like. I just meant like if he had been from that planet, then that would have
been amazing.
Yeah,
but no, he was from Earth. Yeah.
So okay. God damn it. So Endgame is the series finale of Star Trek Voyager, and in my opinion, the second best series finale in all of Star Trek.
What's the first one?
All Good Things.
Oh, really? Okay. Sure.
I mean, I don't like Deep Space Nine. The finale is just kind of, you know.
It's okay.
And we all know that how Enterprise ends.
Oh, yeah. No, okay. I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement.
So Endgame is the series finale of Voyager, and in it, it starts out where you're seeing Voyager fly over San Francisco, and there's fireworks and everything, and then it turns out that like Reg is sitting here talking about the 10th anniversary of Voyager coming back from the Delta Quadrant, and a bunch of the crew's there. It's this big reunion. Everybody's old. It turns out that from the point of the series finale, in the timeline that the original Janeway's from, it took them 16 more years. So
right,
16 and 7. My quick math tells me that that's like
23.
Yeah, something like that. Sure.
Took them like 23 years to get home.
So Admiral Janeway decides that that's too long.
Yeah,
and she and Tom Paris and B'Elanna's daughter, I can't remember what her name is, but like that character, I actually remember watching it and thinking, man, she's really believable. Like she does a really good job. She's not in it for very long, but she does really good.
Okay.
She helps Janeway steal a time travel device from a Klingon. She goes back in time and says, I'm gonna yeet Voyager right back into the Alpha Quadrant because I don't want to deal with this shit.
Right. Yeah.
Screw the. She even says in the episode, the dreaded temporal prime directive. I find it's a lot easier to deal with if you just ignore it.
Yeah. Which actually kind of calls back to the fact that all these people in the future want to kill Voyager and Janeway because she does not give a shit.
She's like, if it gets my crew home, I don't give a shit.
It's one of the reasons why Janeway is one of my favorite fucking characters ever. She doesn't give a fuck. Just give me coffee and don't give me any bullshit.
Don't get in my way, or I'll fucking split you in a transporter.
Dude, I love it. Oh my god.
Turn you back
Holy
to
shit.
two people. And she ends up getting Voyager back and poisoning the Borg and then disappearing.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's how Voyager ends.
It's and honestly, like when I first watched it, I was like, this is a cop out. It's a cop out.
I think a lot of people felt that way because it felt like a very rushed way to end the series.
Yes.
Because it was getting to that point and they weren't the serialization of the show wasn't like directing it to be done.
Right. You know? Well, and they knew it was only going to be seven seasons because TNG was, DS9 was, like it was coming up at that point. I think it was I think that they just did not come up with a large enough overarching plot, because like the way to really do it would be to have like 5 or more episodes leading towards this big struggle to get home.
At the same time, though, Voyager was a return to an episodic structure as opposed to the serialization of Deep Space Nine because they saw that at the time as a flaw.
True.
Because they started with serialization with Deep Space Nine and it ended up not being as popular because not as many people really felt like they could get into it.
Yeah.
And
okay.
So they kept with the episodic thing up until the very last episode.
Right.
Which I don't like. It definitely does feel like a cop out because of that. Because, like, you don't even get an explanation of like their trip back home through the Delta Quadrant for like the original timeline that Admiral Janeway comes from.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's just here we are, we're home.
Right.
So
I mean, but like I said, I thought it was a cop out until I watched it again many years later, and I was like, this is actually, I mean, it's very, there's some Mary Sue shit going on, like I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna give you like a big bad super secret awesome weapons, we're just gonna
sure. Yeah.
And then whatever, and then you're home and it's fine, whatever, YOLO. But it's fun.
It is. It's a very. It's structured really well, I think, as like an action kind of episode. It brings back. I can't remember the actress's name. I know her first name is Alice from First Contact who played the Borg Queen.
Oh yeah.
Because there was another actress who was playing the Borg Queen in the run of Voyager.
Right.
But they actually bring her back for the last episode.
Right.
And they explain it as like, oh, well, the Borg Queen can look like anything, or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah, they bring her back for that episode, and she's got this thing with Seven, and yeah, it's
interesting.
It's a good episode.
I think it's pretty
and
fun.
you know what? I think that the reason that it's given more leeway now is because people saw the Enterprise finale. And they saw how bad things could really be.
And everything is better than that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to Enterprise then, I guess.
All right.
So there's a caveat with Enterprise. I'm actually looking at it right now, and as far as my notes go, only one episode that deals with time travel doesn't have to do with the Temporal Cold War.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, if you haven't watched Enterprise, and honestly, if you're a Trek fan, it may be kind of a daunting task sometimes, but I think watching Enterprise is very worth it. It is good. It just takes
absolutely.
a while to get good, but that's the same with any Trek.
And it's not always consistently good.
No.
But it's not consistently bad. Like some things.
Like Discovery or Picard.
Yeah, man.
Nah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, like Discovery is getting pretty consistent in my opinion.
I will. Oh boy, consistently not good.
Yeah.
And really like all of season 3 of Enterprise is great. Not just good, great.
Yeah,
It's really great.
it is.
So the Temporal Cold War. It's very strange because like all of this basically we have to accept when you start watching it that all of this information that happens, all the stuff that happens in Enterprise must have ended up top secret because nobody else has understanding of it further in.
Mm-hmm.
Because this happens before the original series where they discovered time travel.
Right.
Right?
Well, it's just like how the Spore Drive is top secret too, man.
Oh my God. Stop. Oh my God.
And time crystals.
And in the Temporal Cold War, there is a war going on between various different factions that are traveling through time to try and change the timeline to win. And so Enterprise gets kind of sucked into it. The first one that we are introduced to, it's an episode called Cold Front. There's some... What the fuck? So there's some sabotage that happens to the ship. I wrote shit for some reason. One of the crew reveals that he's from the 31st century.
Oh, right.
And talks about this Cold War, and it's Crewman Daniels. And that this race called the Suliban that can like shapeshift and shit are also being directed from the future by a mysterious faction. But then but then the crewman, but then the villain, Silic, one of the Suliban, claims that it's the opposite and that Daniels is working for the bad guys and nothing really gets resolved. And Captain Archer is like, what are you talking about? And like, just doesn't know what the fuck to think. And
just par for the course for Archer.
Yeah. And that carries throughout the whole fucking series. Anytime anything with the Temporal Cold War, Scott Bakula just has that same energy of like, can you all just fuck off?
Right?
The whole time.
Just leave me alone with this shit. But you're this great captain throughout history, and we have to use you particularly.
Yeah. So then there's another episode called Shockwave. Very basic. Daniel sends Archer back in time to do things.
Nice.
Yep. It's
a side quest.
Yeah, it's a side quest.
It's a temporal side quest.
Number 3, future tense. They come across a time pod from the 31st century, and it's malfunctioning and causes a localized time loop. And like there ends up being kind of like a fight over the fucking time pod, and the Tholians show up, and they want the time pod, and like I think the Suliban show up or some shit like that. And like there's a couple of people who get kind of caught in it and whatever. Ultimately, it ends up being resolved, of course. But the whole episode is basically around the concept of time trash. Because
Time trash.
it's a broken, busted piece of machinery from the future. Just time trash.
Right, kind of like how yeah, anyway. God. Good stuff.
There's the episode Carpenter Street. Lieutenant Daniels, sends Archer and T'Pol back in time to 2004 to stop a biological agent being delivered by Xindi reptilians.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I love how Daniels can't do any of this shit himself.
I wonder the same thing every time I see these episodes. Every single time. He's like, Captain Archer, I am from 900 years in the future.
I think that he was like studying the past or something, or like he was on some kind of temporal mission, and like Archer fucked with him or did something, and he was like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck with this guy throughout time from now on. Just you wait, you son of a bitch.
He's like, I know everything that will happen, and you don't, which is why I'm sending you.
Right. You have no information and no context and no way to understand why any of this is happening, but I need you to do it.
I would be infinitely more useful, but I'm busy with stuff.
Even my unpaid intern would be infinitely more useful. But they can't be bothered right now.
Oh, man. So then there's another episode called Azadi Prime. And it like
Imzadi Prime?
it's not nope, it's not Imzadi. That would have been better. Daniels, it has nothing really to do with the episode.
Imzadi Prime is the season finale. Or the series finale.
It doesn't really have a whole lot to do with the episode, but
Imzadi
very
Prime
briefly in it, Daniels rips Archer out of the time stream to the future, and you get to see the Enterprise J.
Yes. I remember. So like, I remember a long time ago when I was reading on Memory Alpha about the Enterprise J.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, that's cool. I should go and watch that episode. And I tried watching the episode, and I was like, this sucks. And I just fast forwarded to like where the Enterprise J was, and I was like, this sucks.
the CGI on Enterprise.
Oh man, I remember. So you were watching, like, I think it was the final episode of the Temporal Cold War.
Yes, we were just watching that today.
And
Yeah.
like when they wrap it up and they're in this time stream and they're showing like video.
We're almost
clips.
there. We're almost there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
The Enterprise J though, yeah, it's
That's so bad.
the Enterprise J was garbage. I was so disappointed.
So there's only one that doesn't have to do with the Temporal Cold War. It's called E Squared. However, it is a lot like that DS9 episode. So the Enterprise is going to be using a corridor shortcut thing that like is going to bypass the thing. But if they do it, like they're about to, and then the Enterprise, the same ship but older and kind of modified, shows up, and they're like, hey, we're your descendants, and you're going to get thrown back in time. And
Wasn't this the one where they were like, the Enterprise has become a generation ship or something like that?
right,
Yeah.
because they get thrown back in time, and they don't want to pollute the time stream, so they kind of go live off in secret. Do I write down how long it was? They don't say exactly how long it was, but it was like it's
I wanna say
not
it was
so
like
far.
3 generations or something like that. It wasn't very far.
It wasn't too terribly far. It's captained by Captain Archer's kid or something, or maybe it's T'Pol and Tucker's or Trip's kid,
something like that.
but T'Pol is still alive.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yep. And she's an
and-
old woman.
Right.
Because she's a Vulcan, so she lived a lot longer.
Right. And obviously, like, it kind of resolves how you think it's going to resolve. But it was interesting because when T'Pol talks to herself, it's revealed that, like, Trip is actually... there's something about her relationship with Trip that actually is causing her to break down her ability to maintain logic.
Right.
And she's also, like, addicted to some kind of chemical. I forget what that was about.
I think it might have been like some kind of regressive disease or something. I don't remember.
I
exactly.
can't remember. Yeah, but it was really interesting, and it gave like a really cool dynamic to what was happening with T'Pol and Trip. And we're gonna be honest with ourselves here, guys. Like, at a certain point in Enterprise, half of the reason you're watching it is to find out what's happening with T'Pol and Trip.
Yeah,
And it really
absolutely.
doesn't. The rest of the characters don't even fucking matter.
It's true.
Like the story, the Xindi thing is cool. The sphere builders thing, that's cool, and you're interested in that.
They're
but
the
like,
two characters that really they really do the heavy lifting as far
They
as
do.
like the viewership.
It goes to Paul and Trip, then Phlox, and then whoever else the rest of those
Yeah, whoever
fucking
whoever
assholes
you
were.
might be. Something I was thinking today that I want,
Merryweather wasn't bad.
something that I was thinking
cool.
today that I wanted to put on Shitty Daystrom is do you think that Hoshi's last name might be Men?
What? Wow. No.
No.
Is he good?
Sorry,
I think that's the first time I've ever heard you
it was
snort.
through my mouth, so I couldn't control it either. I was trying to hold it. Anyway,
Breathe.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that one for a while. Sorry.
So the last one of Enterprise and the last one that we're talking about has a title that when I read it I was like, uh-oh. But that's because my brain is poisoned by the internet. It's an episode called Stormfront. And I was like,
It's gonna be racist.
and it has Nazis. oh man.
Yes.
So
Yes.
wasn't just a clever name. Okay. So at the end of season 3, marks the end of like the whole Xindi conflict sort of things, sphere builders, blah blah blah. The last episode, I can't remember what the name of it is. The teaser for next season is that they are going to Earth, and as they can't get a signal, and as they like dip into the atmosphere, they're suddenly attacked by biplanes,
Right.
by Stukas, German Stukas, and Captain Archer is captured by Nazis, and you're like, what the fuck?
What the hell's going on here? Is
What
it
the
space
fuck?
Nazis? What is it?
Yeah. And this dude comes out of the shadows wearing a Nazi uniform, and he looks like a bat, a
did look
humanoid
like a
bat.
bat.
Yeah. So in this episode, this is the end of the Temporal Cold War.
Thank God.
Yeah. Basically, Lieutenant Daniels sends the whole ship back to the 1940s. The whole world, not the whole world, but most of the world is dominated by the Nazis. And the way that they did it was that one of the Temporal Cold War factions went back and assassinated Lenin.
Lenin, yeah.
Right. So
In-
there was no
in
October.
1916, yeah,
There's no
before that.
October Revolution, and yeah.
And it made it to where Hitler didn't see Russia as a threat at all.
Right. And so he just went fucking bananas. So the Nazis are now aligned with a race called the Nakul. Not cool.
Not cool.
Not cool. And they look like bats. And so basically they end up having to go through this whole business of trying to stop these aliens, these temporal aliens.
At one point in this episode, they have the CGI at this point is terrible too. It's so bad.
Oh yeah.
It's worse than the CGI from like Voyager, which is weird because like Voyager came before it.
Yeah.
So there is one point where they have a shot of the White House with like Nazi flags hanging down off of it.
I know, yeah. Or the fucking the biplanes with plasma cannons on them. And it looks like something out of the old cartoon reboot.
It really looks so bad.
Or maybe like even Babylon 5
Yeah.
level like CGI. It's so shit. And then
Or, like, Dune 2000.
yeah. It's bad. It's really bad. And this episode isn't, the episode itself isn't bad. It's a two-parter. It's not a bad episode at all, but it's worth watching just to laugh at the fucking CGI because it's so cringe. But like their budget had been slashed, like we were talking about.
There's other cringe moments in it too. Like any of the German soldiers' accents are so bad.
Oh yeah, they're really bad. And then Daniels like got time warped or something.
Yeah, starts melting. Like he looks like he's hyper evolving.
Yes, looks like he's hyper evolving, or like he's a mutant from Total Recall or some shit.
Or like his skin is just melting off.
Yeah,
it's really gross looking.
He looks like that one dude that fell into the nuclear waste in RoboCop.
Yeah.
And so basically, like they end up saving the day, of course. But here's what's so fucking stupid. All right. One, it doesn't make any sense. But so the one of the last scenes is they managed to kill the bad aliens. They blow up the factory where they have the advanced weapons.
Thing where he's gonna go
and then suddenly Captain Archer is on a green screen with the fucking spirally thingies, and there's Daniels.
The timeline is all spread out around him, and it's like this purple swirly thing, and it's the same garbage effect that they used when like they were showing the Enterprise J.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this fucking purpley haze kind of shit, and it's so bad.
Daniels is wearing a gimp suit. And he's like, the timeline is restored. But here's
the timeline.
How?
By blowing up the dude.
How?
Yeah, they didn't do anything to restore the timeline
How
at all.
does that restore the timeline?
The timeline was already altered.
Lennon was still assassinated. Did they go back and stop the assassination?
See, what it was is he completed the side quest that Archer completed the side quest that Daniels gave him, and so once the quest was complete, then Daniels was like, "Okay, I'll pluck you out of this shitty timeline and put you back where you belong."
Right. But how? But like, just even thinking about it just for even half a second, it makes no sense.
It doesn't. It makes no sense at all. Like I can only imagine that there was more story that just got edited out for time or whatever.
How did they stop the assassination of Lenin? How
did They didn't go back to 1916.
They just killed the aliens. So then, like, there should still be Nazis in the 40s on America. That then they have to like figure out that didn't change.
Daniels fixed it. Don't worry. Daniels fixed it because he's got a team that'll go and do stuff for him.
Then why did they send the Enterprise?
He's fucking with Archer.
I think he is.
He really is.
I think he is. I think this whole thing is just like a psychological torture fest.
Something happened on some temporal mission. It was probably Daniel's first temporal mission, and like they had to go back, and like Archer was like this old crusty admiral, and like bumped into him and embarrassed him in front of all his crewmates or whatever. And he's like, "I'm gonna get you when I'm powerful enough. I swear I'm gonna get you."
It has to be.
And
something
he's in middle
like
management now. He's not even like upper management. He's in middle management, and he's just like, you know what? Even if it gets me fired, I'm gonna go do it.
This is just the most petty revenge ever.
And he knows that as soon as it's done, that like his bosses are gonna be there waiting for him when he gets back to his time to fire him and exit him from the building, but he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this asshole. I'm gonna fucking torture this dude. Who gives a shit?
I'm gonna get mine.
Oh my god. Wouldn't it be so weird if like almost the entirety of the plot line of Enterprise is just one dude's petty revenge across time because he accidentally like farted in front of an admiral and the admiral like pointed it out and like shamed him for it. He's like, what did you fucking eat?
Right. Like,
a bullion?
You need to get your insides checked out, son.
He's like, I'm never gonna fucking forget this. I'm gonna go back and torture you.
You just signed a warrant for you and your whole crew, you son of a bitch.
I swear to God, dude.
Oh man, so that's how that ends, huh?
Yeah, that's how that whole thing ends.
and so they're standing there though, and like there's literally these video shots of like different points in history, and it's supposed to show like some resolution of the whole thing, but it's like, why? None of this shit that you're showing on these screens or whatever had anything to do with anything we did.
I think like half of them are like captures from the fucking intro to Enterprise. I've got faith.
That would have been the best part, is if they had like just the instrumental version of that song playing in the background of that scene.
That'd be fucking awesome.
Oh man, Rod Stewart makes $25 every time that song is played.
Oh man, let's starve him. Yeah. So that is time travel. Now that isn't including Discovery
No,
or Picard.
there really aren't like too many Discovery time travel episodes.
Well,
I
most
don't
of it just
think.
has to do with them
There's the time crystal. Oh no, that's not true. Season 2. God damn it. Season 2. Yeah.
Season 2 has like a whole
Yeah.
fucking big shebang
Right.
about it.
But season 2 of Picard is going to be the time travel season 2, which is why that was the whole reason, besides us getting caught in time, that we decided to do this, because Picard is apparently, I saw something before we left that they were talking about 2022, but I guess now we're pretty close to that. So
yeah. So we'll see what amazing adventures await for us in Picard season 2. Time travel.
I hope that Will Wheaton is in it.
Oh my God, please. Okay, like unironically, I want Will Wheaton to be on Trek again. I do. And I'll tell you why. So he was supposed to be in Nemesis. He filmed filmed like a 30-second spot in Nemesis, and it got cut.
Yep. I know. We've talked about it on the podcast.
Miserable. And I feel so bad for him. Now, keep in mind, I think Will Wheaton is kind of an asshole. I don't like him.
Do you know, like, if you look at pictures of him, he still looks like a little boy. Dude is almost 50 years old.
I want to know his secret, honestly. But
being a perpetual whiny boy your entire life.
Okay, well, I don't want to do that. So, all right, I'll be fine with my wrinkles. But my point though is, like, now he has to do the after show. So, like, after Discovery happens, he does a show called Ready Room.
The Ready Room, yep.
And he just basically does like what Chris Hardwick did after The Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm. I refuse to watch it.
I find it pathetic.
He
really
is pathetic.
Cringy.
Do you know that he said that Dave Chappelle was a piece of shit?
Well, I got my own feelings about Dave Chappelle. I'm not very happy with Dave Chappelle, but like I read what he wrote, and Will Wheaton went fucking bananas on that shit.
Dude,
it's so stupid.
that article, I'm sorry, but like that, like I already didn't like Will Wheaton, but that article just kind of pushed me to the point where like I don't have any sympathy.
I didn't like it because I felt the whole thing was fucking fake. What he was saying was fake. That's why I didn't like it. But I feel so bad for the guy that I think they should just throw him a bone and put him in fucking Trek. Why not? Fuck it. Even better, make it Wesley again. Even better, Wesley is now trans. Also, Wesley is a fully fledged traveler. He's a trans traveler, time traveler, who has his own temporal ship. Wesley,
so Q sends them to 2022, and Wesley's the one that has to bring them home.
Yes, using traveler powers
and help them. He's
and it's not Wesley anymore.
Picard.
It's Wendy. Wendy Crusher.
Wendy X.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Picard has a communicator that's been modified that he can press to call Wesley through time.
Like... Oh, it's like the Captain Marvel thing, but instead it's like, we're gonna need a bigger gun for this, and he hits the button, and suddenly Wendy Crusher shows up. Wendy X, excuse me, and she's like, "Hey, Captain. Oh, you need some help getting home?
I can help you."
And then he like puts his hand on the fucking console and he starts going like the window blind kind of thing. Like, and then he gets him home. That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be on board with that.
Super into this idea.
So
I think it's fucking awesome and it should happen. Make it happen, Kurtzman.
Yeah,
or
Kurtzman.
You're a bigot,
right? God, why are you trapped in the 1950s? I didn't know what else to say without sounding problematic.
We're definitely not doing that on this podcast.
No. So that's some of the instances of time travel in Star Trek. Definitely not all of them, but yeah, with Picard going to the past.
It's the definitive list.
It is the only list. It's the only list you'll ever need. That
Yes.
shit on Memory Alpha, just don't even look at it. So we're gonna do probably a behind the scenes kind of video on just a little bit of what went into making this episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And if you are subscribed to our second tier level of Patreon, which I believe is $5.
I think it's $5.
Yeah. You'll have access to that. Just kind of a little bit of a special thing for the people that do a
Yeah,
little
we just
bit
want
more.
to do a little thing.
And then, obviously, if you're subscribed for $1 or more, you get the video version of this. Otherwise, the free non-video version will be up on YouTube.
Yes.
And again, we appreciate checking out the podcast. Like, subscribe. The best thing that you could do is if you appreciate the Star Trek podcast, you like listening to Star Trek stuff, you know people that like Star Trek, maybe recommend our podcast to somebody.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah,
it helps a lot.
That would really help out. We're doing what we can to try to grow it. We're got some stuff coming in the future, and if you like it, please support us.
Yeah.
Please
Give us your Latinum.
Yes, we'll take your gold press Latinum. So we'll take your donations too.
All right. Until next time. This has been
Eject the Core. Take care, guys. See you later.